And we're going to reflect. I think you made a very good transition actually about the learnings of this co-creation and how actually the fact that when you work together, when you work as a partner, it really can bring new innovation to users, but also obviously to you as operators or organizations. Looking at this now, Laurent, maybe what's the key learning you're taking from this way of working? Can you share with us?
Yeah, I guess it's not rocket science, but my experience is that such co-creation teams need to be really diverse with a common vision, but completely different perspectives on a subject. And then good ideas can develop. And you said it, Kasper, to keep the flexibility in thinking and to adjust also ideas and processes, and then at the end also the product for the customers.
Yeah, thank you very much. Any other voices, Helmut or Renato? What is your view on that? Did it change something, the way you are partnering with other organizations? Or internally, maybe?
Well, I think, you had a clear goal, a common goal, and but you had also a legacy system, and the new system was much better than the old. Did not cost as much as the old, and I think you could also use standardized products, a system that's already running and in other places. And it's very impressive for me how you did it, yes, in Denmark. And and I think learning from each other, but always be open for new insights, for new learnings. And I think this is also very important in such a process.
Yeah, very good.
My impression was always that the fact that this speed was possible is sort of the combination of a very, very clear strategic choice at the beginning, right? That remains clear. I mean that the non-digital or non-mobile solution has changed a bit, but the framework has really stayed rock solid, and then allowed the agility below that. And I think that is impressive how you as an organization and all the stakeholders around it, because I mean sometimes I get the feeling when I talk to people in Germany and Switzerland that they say, well, in Denmark that's possible, of course, but they have politicians, they have the public, they have an aggressive press, they have all you have as well. So and to really stay calm under pressure as well, with this sort of completely clear framework that was shared by everyone, I think was the key to this success, and even so it wasn't easy, right?
I was very much impressed by the fact that you said, yeah, exactly, this fact, a clear vision, create a framework where you can actually work with a partner and exchange and build trust. To me, that was a really interesting aspect, which is often forgotten, that you start there and then the rest can follow. Helmut, I saw you wanted to react with something to share about your learning.
Yes, we had a lot of contacts from the beginning of the project, and it was, you came to Switzerland to see how we do it, and you adapted it to the framework that you had in Denmark. And as you said, you always have to be careful to respect the regional local framework that you have. What can you do inside this framework? And it's not only the regulations, but it's also the culture of the people, how they're working together, and also how the organization, what's the mindset of our organization. And what I see is that the main goals are more or less the same. We also have the idea to go further on a digital first. We also go in the idea to have post payment as a principle, and then we can look after how we do it with prepaid customers. We also have the same figures as you. 10% of the customers at the end of the day will be in a public transport system, be customers without digital solution. But we don't have the same framework, and so today we are observing very closely how you did it in Denmark, and we are still want to learn from you. One very concrete example is how you organize your market to allow competition between system vendors, system operators on one single market. Because when you think at the end, in Switzerland, we have a revenue of about 7-8 billion Swiss francs a year in public transport, passenger revenue. And when we come to the point that we say, okay, 80 or 90% of this part will be delivered by a post-pricing system, for us it's crucial for risk evaluation that we don't have only one partner available, but different partners. And so we are very interesting, and we already talked about this some months ago, how we can organize the market to allow different players to deliver access system to public transport in Switzerland.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you, gentlemen, for sharing your experiences about learning how co-creation has worked or made the changes within your respective markets. Now I'd love to open the floor to questions. Please don't hesitate to ask questions. Raise your hand. We're here for, my colleagues are here with the mics. Maybe if you can just present yourself briefly, where you're working, and obviously ask your question in whatever language you want. We're going to make sure it's understood. Any questions about? We had maybe questions to Gian-Mattia. We didn't do a Q&A, or then the Swiss start of the story, and now Kasper's input of how Rejsekort has actually started off this national transformation. Yes, Monica.
Hello, thank you. My name is Monika Moritz. I'm from the Ahrwelle, a tariff community in the mid-north of Switzerland. First question to Gian-Mattia. We were talking about the timetable function that was just recently introduced into the FAIRTIQ app. Would you, looking back, now start earlier and have a timetable integration? Because imagine you're losing the customers each time when they want to know when the bus or the train is leaving. They have to go to another app to be informed, and then they turn back, hopefully, to FAIRTIQ, or maybe they stay with where they are.
Well, it's a question that obviously we've been thinking about quite a bit. I think part of our success was the extreme focus we had and still have on mobile pay-as-you-go. And had we started too early, it was trying to sort of attack the timetable field. We might have sort of died from overload. So should we have done it a couple of years earlier, or is now the right moment? I don't know. But there's one important driver to bring it now, and that is B&B out. Because with check-in, check-out, you have a reason to communicate and to have the app open. With B&B out, you don't. So we need new reasons to be in touch with people. And the timetable is the obvious one that is always of interest to people, be it for the ones that really need sort of advanced information on the timetable, because in a city like Bern you don't, right? You have 3 minute, 4 minute, 6 minute sort of cadence of your buses. Then usually you don't need that, but you might need the information that there is a disruption on the line that you're using every day, but only when it's disrupted. So I think we at the same time have new possibilities with what we can do, but also a very new reason, and that is B&B out.
Thank you very much, Monica, for the question. Any other questions or comments? Don't be shy.
Hello, I'm with FAIRTIQ. I'm head of New Market. That was extremely interesting, and I'm not just saying that because I work here. I want to pick up on something that Kasper said, the relationship between rules and technology. And this is something that I experience all the time. Rigid rules, so the rules come and they're immovable. Adapt to them, come back to us. And I found it really interesting what you said about the need to have this agility, but you need to strike a balance. So maybe the panelists could talk about this equilibrium to find between the business rules and the technology.
Yeah, thank you very much, Antoine. Who would like to take this question? Yeah, Helmut.
Yes, perhaps part of the answer. I think on one side it's very important to have stable rules, to have a plannable system, to have confidence into the system. Customer asking us for confidence, so it's one part, not only one, but it's one part. But on the other hand, you have to organize how you can work outside these rules. And I'm really a fan of sandbox models, as we did it in Switzerland for the introduction of automatic ticketing, because we started something in some regions, and we were convinced that it will work. But the question was, how could it work on a national base? How we can develop together common rules that other partners, other companies can offer the solution. And so we had a rule set and also a sandbox integrating the different actors, FAIRTIQ and the other ones that I don't name here.
You may, it's all good.
Let's Go, for example. But also different companies, public transport operators, to develop together what could be the future rule set. And what we did is we only said, okay, start with the solution. We are observing it very closely. We have a team which can adapt very closely and very quickly the different effects that we have inside the system for 2 years' time. And after 2 years, we are fixing the rules. So you have to find the good balance between stable rules, very important for every actor into the system, but also the way how to change these rules. And at the end of the day, this needs only confidence that together we will achieve a same goal and give the framework to be able to achieve this goal.
Thank you, Helmut. Kasper, you wanted to react.
I think, and this is not only in public transport, there is many rules where you need to throw in a hand grenade. There's no reasons for them anymore. They probably don't, they served a purpose when they were invented 25, 30 years ago, but they don't today. So it's a good principle to look how technology and end user experience can force you to change those rules. I think that's a good principle. But you also need to prepare for the worst, because reality is there has been many organizations that have died in the best ambitions of changing rules. They ended with a provider. This is what you're going to do. We put it in the slideshow. But then you meet reality. You meet the people that somewhere deep down in different organizations take care of all these rules. And then you die if you don't are able to sort of adapt to some of these things. So I think what we did was we had that ambition. We tried to push it. But the reason why we also did the pilots was also to test, if we're not successful, does it still work? Mm-hmm. And it would, I would say, for 95%, 90-95%, we could see this will still work, and the rest we can probably fix at some later stage. So I think that's just the reality of it, basically, that you need to take that into account, even though you sometimes think, what are these rules for? Maybe only a very limited segment that has an interest in it, and maybe they don't even serve a purpose anymore.
Yeah, so the two things. Yeah, Gian-Mattia, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, there is a very obvious example that the Rejsekort and especially the PTOs behind Rejsekort came in with the assumption that our system should do exactly the same that the card system did. And some rules that are intelligent for a card system are just undefendable for what we do. So, for example, the pricing was done between the physical tap-in and the physical tap-out, even if that was slightly late, which is logical for a card system. But it was obvious to a user that we know exactly when the person got out of the train, tram, whatever it was, that we needed to adapt pricing rules to actually getting onto the vehicle and off the vehicle, and there was quite a lot of battles with your stakeholders. You immediately understood, but it was kind of took some effort to convince some of the stakeholders that we need new rules because they're undefendable in this new context. So it can be very concrete, and even then it takes effort, right?
Yeah, so the three things we heard is, on one side, allow for a test environment and create the new rules together. Kasper's point on maybe distributing some hand grenades to bomb them away, but accept that they're coming back. And and Gian-Mattia's point that it's sometimes tough, even if you intend or have the understanding that the changing the rules might be hard labor. Yes, any other questions or comments, reactions? Yes, I see Paula.
Thanks. Paula, Head of Core Markets at FAIRTIQ. Kasper, you mentioned introducing outside perspectives to maybe break up some of the more rigid views within the industry. What specific perspectives did you invite? Like what kind of groups, and perhaps some of the other markets could listen to it and see if we are missing those perspectives in our areas?
Well, I think some of the people that we brought into the organization in the beginning and that are still there, we were looking more in terms of qualifications of how to deliver a digital transformation project at large. What are the skill sets in terms of contracting in a way where it allows for partnerships? How can we work with user experience and customer behavior that you see in a lot of other sectors? So we were much more focused on bringing in people that had these kind of competences than a lot of background within public transport. Because I think some of the development and the parts of the transformation that we've gone through in Denmark has similarities to what you see in all other kind of sectors. So I think that was, I think, a way to both have the ability to make a vision and a clear strategy, but also have an implementation organization that were able to execute it. I mean, many good strategies have died in execution and implementations. So I think to recognize that as a specific competence and also looking into those kind of areas was good. Obviously, then it needs to meet with knowledge of public transport ticketing. We had some competencies ourselves. You would get some served from your partners that works other places. Obviously, the PTOs will have heaps of them. So it's not to say that but it needs to be a mix of the knowledge of the sector, but also bringing in skill sets that have done similar stuff in other areas. I think that's a good way to go forward with it.
Is that something, Helmut, Laurent and Renato, you experience as well, that basically public transport knowledge is maybe not that key, but rather the technical capabilities of digitalizing?
Yes, I mean, we are really strong in telling everybody how special we are and how special our business is. And knowing that from my own experience, airspace, but also industry, we're not that special. I mean, we have similar subjects on the table that need similar ways to solve. And as I said before, I'm clearly the opinion that we need diverse teams regarding the skills, regarding the ideas, regarding the technology know-how, and bringing these together and let them work will bring new solutions. And we still live in I guess I'm glad English is not my native tongue, so I can't say what I think. But we live in a welfare-degenerated community where we believe we can solve problems with new rules. And we don't need new rules. As you said, we need hand grenades, but I don't like hand grenades. This is a bit too harsh in these times. But we need the courage to also change rules and work on, because otherwise technology will just pass by really fast. And we see that in autonomous driving today, where the technology is here and we still don't use it because we don't have the rules. So, yeah, I hope very much that we as a community in our companies, I'm looking at my own at VBL, but also in other companies, we as a community have the courage to change existing rules.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Renato, sure.
Well, I think we've seen that the good thing about this mobile technology is that we can use existing technology that is always kind of renovating itself, you know. So in the beginning, what was the price? About 300 million Swiss francs for such a system that was only for public transport. But maybe at the end it would be, maybe, I don't know, 1 billion Swiss francs.
Whatever.
I don't know. But I mean, the good thing is that we have these mobile technologies, these smartphones that everybody knows so great. I mean, better than your partner, because you take it on, I don't know, in your bed, on your toilet, and you have it always with you. And you buy every 2 or 3 years a new mobile phone. And so there are some processes, there are some rules, some processes that are known, you know. And so I think if you want to use that, so we have to adapt ourselves, our services, to the idea, to the system of this, of these smartphones, let's say, like this. So people know how to use it, how they open an app, how they and what else. And so if we adapt our service to that, so for people it is very easy to use your own app. Yeah. And so I think this is a difference. So we don't have to take this technology, to adapt technology to our needs. So we have to, I think, to sometimes also to adapt our product or maybe our services or our system to that what is normal for our customers, because then it is easy for them. Yeah. And so, yes, and then if you take a new technology, maybe you have to adapt some rules, some own rules, because your own rules come from another technology, from a, I don't know, paper-based or tap-in, tap-out system, and now you have this system. And so I think it's also a little bit easy, because you have to see what is here, and so what do I have to adapt, so that for people it's very easy to use your own services. Yeah. And so, yeah, and I mean, the point is that in our system we have not just one systems, but we have maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 or even more. So you have all these legacy systems that are also around, and sometimes then it becomes kind of difficult, because you have, at the end you need the same price, but the same price in every system, and sometimes then you get some problems.
Interesting situations. You know? Yeah.
But at the end, maybe it's a good thing to stop one system, you know.
Get the legacy system. Yeah. Yes, Kasper,
just to build on the things about the end users, and I think one thing I've reflected a lot about is how some parts of customer and consumer behavior are changing really fast. Think of LLM modules, AI, ChatGPT, huge uptake within 1 month, millions of users worldwide. You see it a little bit with tech as well, as you said, forcing people to use it everywhere, and it changes your behaviors in a lot of different sectors, and that is also pushing and driving consumer behavior in public transport. But then there are other parts that are so habitual. So I think, and I don't know the exact numbers, so correct me, Gian, but I think the proportion of the market shares of pay-as-you-go sold tickets in Denmark, I guess, is way beyond than in Switzerland. Oh, yeah. Even though you've been here for 10 years, it's a Swiss company. You work with all these good partners. So there are parts of end user behavior that are so conservative or habitual, and are really difficult to change. Yeah. And then you see these sort of global tech movements that can change a lot of ways people are behaving in a very short time. That's a little bit tricky to how do you adapt to that to that reality? Can be a challenge.
Yeah, it remains a challenge.
Maybe there's a reason.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Almost 50% of people own a general abonnement. This flat tax now, not 50%.
a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people.
I would also have said, why do people change their behavior? I mean, because they have a benefit out of it. And with the LLMs, I mean, the benefit is clear. I'm so faster in whatever I do. And in Switzerland, maybe the FAIRTIQ is great as it is in Denmark. But the starting point, I don't know Denmark so good, only from holiday. The starting point is really high. So the additional benefit of having FAIRTIQ is maybe not that big, and therefore less people change.
Or maybe to reverse it, you could say the Danes have been extremely clear on eliminating everything else. And in Switzerland, we've always built on top, right? Which produces a cost base that is of another dimension than what the Danes have now.
Yeah, and there is the question: how much yield management should we be able to do to switch to digital channels?
We have time for one final question, if there is. Yes, sure.
Thank you. I'm Jan from the Zlín Region Transportation Authority in the Czech Republic. And personally, for the past 2 or 3 years, I've been perceiving FAIRTIQ as sort of this global or Europe-wide family of progressive transportation authorities. And I was wondering if you have any examples where FAIRTIQ led you to unexpected Europe-wide collaborations with other transport authorities, not just in ticketing, or maybe, I don't know, if this family led to creation of new transit lines, some collaboration projects outside of ticketing that you benefited from this family.
Maybe a question for Helmut, go ahead.
Yes, I can. So I have the chance as the managing director of the branch organization, which is in charge of all the rules and the organization, to have also through FAIRTIQ a lot of contacts to international bodies. French Ministry, I think they will have a BAD in our offices nextly. Then we have regular contact to Belgium on a ministerial and political level, mainly for us, because they want to understand how is the Swiss public transport system working, not only regarding to fares or to distribution, but also how is the integration of the system, how do you work together? I've been to a press conference together with the Belgian Minister of Transport, and the journalist asked, you want to have an integrated ticket system, how you will do it in your country? And his answer was, in Belgium we have 4 public transport companies. In Switzerland there are 250. So sorry, when it works in Switzerland, we also should be able to make it work to Belgium. So I think there are a lot of interest what is going on in Switzerland, what we are doing. And for me personally, it's very important to have these contacts also to learn what are the experience in the other countries. So for me, it's mainly on this level that we have regular contacts to other countries.
Anything you want to add, Gian-Mattia?
Well, maybe not that many direct collaborations, but a lot of cross-inspiration. So we'll hear more about tariff experimentation in France, in Switzerland, and I think there was a lot of mutual inspiration. And we hope to be able to continue to do that with events such as this one.
Yeah, gentlemen, thank you very much for sharing your perspective on how the partnership started, how it happened in Denmark. And I think what's really great to see is that this co-creation and this perception that if we're teaming up, if we're partnering, we can actually really produce a change for the users and for the perception of public transport. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in thanking Helmut, Laurent, Renato, Kasper, and Gian-Mattia. Thank you so much.